Welcome to our webinar, Scaling Agile Across Your Organization with Azure DevOps, Unlocking Agile Portfolio Management. If you enjoy this topic, please explore our YouTube channel for more videos and follow us on LinkedIn to be in the know for event announcements and speaking engagements.
Today we're going to be talking about scaling Agile across the organization and with the use of Azure DevOps together with OnePlan. I'm going to start by just giving you some highlights, updates really on information we provided before, insights that are driving scaling of Agile in organizations, and then we'll get into how we enable Enterprise Agile and how we'll do a brief demonstration of some of the features within OnePlan that support that. So the first kind of insight I want to talk about is, the state of Agile within the context of strategic portfolio management. And this is Gartner's strategic portfolio management hype cycle, which includes the Agile use cases. So you see prominently at the very top, I've highlighted lean portfolio management, which is really probably the most common portfolio management approach with Agile that's implemented in organizations. But you can see also some of the other use cases for Agile beyond IT, adaptive PM and reporting, Agile project management, and then Enterprise Agile frameworks. And they all seem to be heading towards the trough of disillusionment. And really the point here is that we went, over the past 4 or 5 years with a lot of expectations into what Agile transformations could do within organizations, and the realization for organizations doing transformations is that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to change the mindset of everyone in the organization. It's very difficult to implement very, very specifically, the Scale Agile in particular, which is a very, very large framework. So we're learning through that and figuring ways of taking the benefits, taking the best parts of Agile and making them work within our organizations. So what that means is, we've used this chart before to highlight Agile transformations, and I think it's a construct that probably applied before 2023, and again, just providing some perspective, we were all trying to shift left. In other words, we had been working in traditional predictive project portfolio management approaches. So, it was all about projects. And then we were moving towards the center where more and more work is being done using Agile methods. So there was kind of a blend. And there was more of a dominant force of Agile kind of taking over, and then you have organizations that went all the way and shifted left and implemented Scale Agile fully throughout the entire organizations. And there was a need to see where you fit in this and how you were going to evolve in it. And we were all going to shift left. All of our organizations. What happened, what we saw happening next is really most organizations became adaptive. In other words, within IT, there was either in product development or software development, there was Agile already in place. So it was really about becoming adaptive and incorporating, blending both Agile and waterfall and concepts and tools. But there was still the desire to shift left. In other words, we were still moving and trying to reach that end state where everything in the organization was going to be Agile. And the reality, what's happened is that surveys indicate yes, Agile is used for 50% or more work in organizations now. It's gotten outside of IT, so it is prevalent. And 78% of organizations have shifted to Agile and implemented at least one framework. And again, productizing, software delivery, and permeating Agile frameworks within IT. So really the challenge, and here we want to speak to EPMOs, PMOs, or business PMOs, is that there's still a large amount of work that's done in traditional methods. And that what that means is that you have to really have the ability to create that harmony between both, and still transition and even transform to an Agile PMO, but the need to shift all the way left is kind of, again, through that trough of disillusionment, we've kind of found out that it might not be necessary. And really what you have to do is really change more towards Agile without having to, fully commit to doing a full transformation and, doing letter of the law Agile methodologies. So what does that have to do with, scaling Agile? Well, really, there's 3 Agile PMO design principles that you can take to heart. And the interesting thing, they're words that resonate and have been around, in other modes. But here, it's really the focus is, if you want to add, for each one of these terms, add for Agile at the end of it. So prioritization for Agile, for business agility, visibility for business agility, and collaboration for business agility. And what that really means is that when you're talking about becoming an Agile PMO and scaling Agile, you're going to be making investment decisions at a higher level. And you're probably already doing that. But now the big focus in achieving business agility with Agile is focusing more on outcomes rather than outputs. So what is the difference that we're making to achieve our OKRs, objectives and key results? So there's a heavier emphasis on doing that and focusing more on metrics and outcomes than on the traditional outputs that projects deliver. The second is providing visibility to the entire portfolio. That includes all the Agile initiatives, all the epics that you're currently undertaking. So that might mean harmonizing your project portfolio management solution to include Agile terminology, making sure that you have prioritization methods for both. Again, focusing on business outcomes, trying to measure the impact that the initiatives are making, whether you were talking about projects or epics. And the third one is really, really important. In order to avoid that duality, okay, us versus them, in other words, of folks that are doing Agile or folks that are not doing Agile, is really integrating all of the participants, all of the Agile practitioners, and the lead center of excellence, if you happen to have one, folks that are actually managing Agile within the organization, into the PMO ceremonies, and making sure that you're all looking at the same data set and interpreting the same data set when making decisions for with leadership. So they might seem very common, but really it's, again, for Agile. At the end of every one of these, you want to focus on for Agile. So with OnePlan, we like to show this slide as our 50,000-foot picture of what we deliver as part of our solution. You might say, well, this doesn't really paint the picture of scaling Agile. And really the point here is that we have the flexibility to turn this into an Agile lean portfolio management solution, again, using the same features. And it's really orienting the governance process and the tooling in order to follow those specific steps and life cycles, that process steps that Agile dictates. So now at an EPMO level, the interesting thing is you might be looking at this picture while at the same time also operating lean portfolio management within OnePlan. And I want to emphasize that that's really the flexibility of OnePlan to give you those two perspectives. You could be doing this as a EPMO and at the same time providing Lean Agile Center of Excellence OnePlan for lean portfolio management. And I will show that in a second. And really our solution for lean portfolio management really hasn't changed, in the sense that really what we're trying to enable is that lean portfolio flow, if you will, of epics, starting with OKRs and defining the portfolio vision, having developing the portfolio backlog, and then seeing epics and progress through the lean portfolio Kanban. There are financials involved. There's resources involved. There is integration of the work that's being done in the tooling, and in this case, we're talking about Azure DevOps specifically. So it still begins, if you go back to, if you remember the prior picture, it still begins with defining OKRs and measuring business outcomes, managing your lean portfolio Kanban, breaking those epics down into features at the program level or planning increment level now, because in SAFe 6.0, we call it a planning increment, so it's at the art level. And then having the insights in order to do course correction, and that's driven by all the KPIs and monitoring. In terms of our solution, really what we provide are in the context of lean portfolio management with Azure DevOps is really the top two levels here that I have with blue check mark, which are really the lean portfolio Kanban, and the ability to do the alignment with the OKRs, defining the lean portfolio Kanban, doing prioritization, doing modeling, what if modeling with our modeler. Then once those epics are defined, having the teams be able to work on them in the arts by defining all of the different components of the PI planning increment of the arts. So the two top parts are areas that we will address within the OnePlan solution. In the context of integrating with Azure DevOps, the teams will live within Azure DevOps. Not that they can't come into OnePlan, but the persona is really for lean portfolio management, and our planning is really Scrum Masters, product owners, and higher. So we want to keep the teams and the team members really working within Azure DevOps. And again, not that they can't come in as team members, but it's most likely that they will stay in Azure DevOps working on their stories and tasks. Again, for Agile Portfolio Management, we'll start with defining that strategic vision, the strategic themes, and the portfolio vision. And again, we have our strategy area, which I'll go into, and then from there we go into doing lean portfolio management and the planning increments, as I said, for the LPM at a PMO level, and then the planning increments at a lower level. So one important component of this is integration, and I think that's where OnePlan has a strength. Here we have Azure DevOps, but it's not the only tool that we can integrate, Agile tool that we can integrate, or work management or planning tool that we can integrate. We can integrate, as you can see, multiple elements depending on what your requirement set is. But it's really important that for Agile portfolio management that we talk about this, because it's the way that you have set up Azure DevOps is important in how you enable lean portfolio management. So in the case of OnePlan, again, we have our integration platform, which allows you to bring in integrate Azure DevOps as well as other line of business system data that you might need, such as financials. That's usually another one that comes in as part of the an implementation. So again, for Azure DevOps, what I want to talk about is how we have the integration set up, and it's based on your planning, your work items in Azure DevOps, which we will map to plan types and work types within OnePlan. Now I have this this line here in the diagram dividing portfolio and work plan. So those are two integration points where we will actually bring in data from Azure DevOps, and we will emulate your work items within Azure DevOps into what we call the planning hierarchy and work types within OnePlan. So that can be done, by the way, it's bi-directional, the integration. So in this diagram, what that means is an epic can be created in Azure DevOps and it will be reflected in OnePlan, and an epic can be created in OnePlan and be reflected in Azure DevOps. Features are created in Azure DevOps and then brought into OnePlan. So that's an important consideration in defining your process. The black line really defines what I call the prioritization line. In OnePlan portfolio is where we prioritize items. So if you're interested in prioritizing features, you will want to integrate features into OnePlan portfolio. If you're not interested in prioritizing features, then this black line would move up, and that means that features would be actually integrated into the work plan. So again, there's flexibility in how we can structure the integration to drive your Agile Portfolio Management use case in OnePlan portfolio. So this is a module within OnePlan. Work plan is our second module within OnePlan where we do integration. In this diagram, you can see that stories and tasks are just done from Azure DevOps into OnePlan, and they're not bi-directional. What we do want to strive is the visibility of all work. So you can see that we're bringing everything that you're doing in Azure DevOps into OnePlan, and we're also adding additional layers. And again, depends on how you want to define that and what Agile framework you're adopting. If you're doing safe, that might be different. You might have value streams, as you'll see in the demo. But at a minimum, you would probably have portfolios and OKRs. I mentioned already that it's bi-directional integration where required. So the integration is flexible. I know it's a very simple chart, but it's a flexible capability that we have in order to structure the integration the way that you need it for your Agile scaling. So I want to take just a moment to highlight that Gen AI has obviously taken over the world, if you will, in terms of assisting in creating both productivity and revenue opportunities for organizations, and it is also an opportunity to leverage within Agile within your organization, and we'll show that in a second. In our case, we've embedded Azure OpenAI, so secure Azure OpenAI from Microsoft into OnePlan, and it is available to all of the users to support generating narratives, doing analysis on any of the information. So again, this is a value add, and I'll show a couple of stories on that. It's always available in the sense that when you pop up Sophia GPT on the bottom right and you have a data screen, you can do your prompts in order to get the desired output for your specific prompt. We are continuing to evolve Sophia GPT, and these are the use cases that we're investing in: strategic planning, portfolio optimization, work management, risk assessment, resource allocation, and investment forecasting. But those are the ones that are identified. There's many others that that can be addressed that we might not have identified here, and you're free to use the capability to address them. So now I will take a moment to switch and go to the demonstration. So I want to start by highlighting intake, which really in any organization, whether you're doing running as a traditional PMO or an Agile PMO, you still need to address. So OnePlan has an innovation portal, and basically it's a capability for anybody in the organization to submit a request. Now, likely in your in your Agile methodology, you might have customers that are putting in feature requests, teams, but this applies to anyone in the organization. So this could supplement what you currently have in order to be able to capture all requests from all different stakeholders. In this case, it's a very simple way of capturing initial business case information that you are then going to be having approvers go through. I think important is the prioritization elements. because those are the ones that are going to drive the decisions whether to include it in the backlog or not. But again, this is just the very first step that you will probably, where a user will probably begin to create that idea. The idea then, and I'll just go here. These are different demonstration sites. I'll go to the Agile Portfolio Management demo. The PMO is likely then to receive them within the ideation area within OnePlan. So here's that business intelligence that was captured, and we have different views here: all ideas, closed ideas, need review, new ideas. So I'm in the need review ideas, and I see that I have my business intelligence. I have my prioritization score. I can go into it. So this form can be tailored to anything that you need. So it doesn't. Right now we just have a template, but it can incorporate anything that you require. And here's Sophia GPT, by the way. The business case isn't complete, so I could come in and let's see if we can do this. I will go in and just put a prompt, and it might take, if it takes too long, I'll have to move on. But just to give you a quick demo of what would happen here, I'm asked actually for the business case description, value statement, additional comments for the business intelligence initiative, and I did add additional information. It's incorporating BI and all customer management and customer facing applications. If you've used Gen AI previously, we will get a narrative that then I can copy and paste into an edit as part of my business case. So very nicely taking some of the data that's there, and incorporating into, here's my value statement, my business benefits are being stated, and then it's giving me a commentary on the prioritization and challenges. Okay, so I could use this to complete my business case, copy and paste it, and then complete my business case. Here also, what this can be driven by workflow. We have a couple of ways of doing workflow, but basically, if I actually move this to approved, what would happen is we have here a series of notifications that would automatically be triggered. So I could, in any part during the life cycle, this will have been triggered, and then the approval would have been required by a user who will receive an email and a link, and then they can come and make the decision to actually approve it, at which point then it becomes part of the execution portfolio. So if we were to do it manually, what that means is we would actually reorganize it, which means we would create, in this case, we can create an epic, and we can make it part of a program. So the same action through the workflow that I showed earlier could be done, will be done through here, and then that item then becomes part of the backlog that we're going to be working on. So it's an interesting way of doing your funnel. So here it's another approach to use OnePlan in order to capture all ideas. So the next use case would be for the PMO, or with the LACE also, looking at all of the epics that have been defined. So when we just created one or we would have created one for business intelligence. In this particular configuration, the planning hierarchy that I mentioned, I just want to show it because it's important to. We have the flexibility to structure this any way you want. In this case, we're taking kind of a safe approach, and we have a value stream, we have a program. It's kind of a hybrid because we have program, we have projects, we have epics. Now, we do recognize that projects and epics are not the same. However, for simplicity's sake, we're lining them up similarly. But as you see, I'm only showing epics. So if I'm the lean portfolio manager looking at epics, this is my view, and I don't need to see all the rest of the content. And at a EPMO level, they might want to see everything here. I'm just managing a lean portfolio with my epics and my features. We can see here, the plan type is identified, their state. We do have the ability to calculate which shift, as you saw before, and you can see that it's showing here. Which are the teams that are performing this? What are the key results that we're trying to address? Again, from strategy, and I'll touch on that in a second. We also have the ability to integrate other elements from your business architecture and enterprise architecture. So we have your products, applications, capabilities, value streams, which is really important to scale Agile in particular. And then when are we delivering? When are we delivering these epics? So if I wanted to get into further detail, in other words, what is this loyalty membership all about? I can actually go to our visualizer. So think that we just brought in our business intelligence. So this is just like that. I'm going to see exactly how important is it. So your loyalty membership is actually tied to our launch new product successfully OKR, which has a key result of create 20 customer case studies. But it more importantly is tied to value streams, which in the SAFe construct is really important. And we have capabilities, application, and product, and all those associations can be made, by using OnePlan. We can go from here. I'm going to go to details just for you to see that at the epic level, we have the ability to define the epic business case also, and this form can be tailored to anything that's required. And then here we have the associations that we saw earlier in terms of applications, products, value streams, and the key results. Statusing of the epic can be done within OnePlan also. We provide within the form fields for that, and there's also a specific status report that you could be generating. Here the epic owner or Scrum Master could be working on this and then submitting it to specific stakeholders. So this is a nice way of trying to understand what the status of the epic is. This status report, which is available at any level, in other words, you could also apply it to a feature, is snapshotted over time. So what that means is that this data gets used then for doing trending analysis. So at the epic level, the other important aspect that we could be leveraging is resource management. So we could be defining resources for our epic, which then the Scrum Master can then leverage. And one additional feature that we did add is we can actually add teams. We added the teams capability to OnePlan, so you could be assigning an entire epic to a team rather than to individuals. So that's an important feature that we added in one of our releases. The life cycle here also is managed via workflow. So there could be notifications that are issued or use the use of Power Automate directly. I think we created one. We created one at this level. Let's see, my notifications. So ready for LPM prioritization. So after changes that occur in the process steps, we could be issuing notifications to the prioritization committee, steering committee, LPM steering committee to come in and actually review prior to our meeting. So that's another interesting component, which is part of governance, which doesn't go away if you're scaling Agile. So you note here that we have our epics and even some features. They're actually integrated from Azure DevOps. So what that means is that this work is actually being done in Azure DevOps, and we're actually doing it directly, managing them within OnePlan, but the work being the stories and the tasks are actually being done within Azure DevOps. And if we go into Azure DevOps, I'll just show so that you can see that what's happening is on a scheduled basis. When updates are done, then that data is brought into OnePlan directly. So that's how the integration works. And you can schedule it, or you can manually invoke it to do your update. So what this means in this case is I can go to Work Plan. So if you recall, we had the two levels. We have Portfolio, where we're going to do prioritization, and then we have Work Plan. And here, if I go to my backlog, this is the work that's actually being done in Azure DevOps, and I'm bringing it into OnePlan. In this case, like similar to what I showed in the graphic, this we're not editing stories and tasks in OnePlan. We're only viewing them, and then we're integrating that in order to see the status of the work. Now, one additional capability that we have if you want to work in agile fashion is that for this epic, you could be also doing a schedule. And in fact, in this case, we've actually integrated and done some waterfall scheduling together and integrated our agile work that's being done in Azure DevOps. Doesn't affect anything that you're doing in Azure DevOps, but it's an additional tool for the project manager or the Scrum Master, because if you wanted to, you could be showing the Gantt of when things are going to be completed. So it's a way of actually trying to develop a full timeline of the work that's being done in Azure DevOps. So as the lean portfolio management team continues, we could be in a situation, okay, we now need to get into our prioritization of features. So here's where Modeler would come in. So Modeler is a capability, a module of OnePlan, and it allows you to do what if scenarios. In this case, I'm going to be doing feature prioritization. So I brought in a set of features that I selected, because prior to this screen, when you set up the model, you can actually decide what you're going to select. In this case, we're looking at PI through 1 through P4, and we have some estimated starts and ends that have been defined, our WIS shift, our backlog points, our budget and our benefits, and our feature points. And what we want to do here is see, okay, if we're in a constraint scenario, what should we select? Right now, we need $3 million and 1,060 points. But what if we were in a constraint? And what that means is, okay, if we have a budget of 3 million, but we have 970, if we went further down into the scenarios, what should we select? And that's really what the tool allows you to do, to say, okay, out of all of the projects, if I go into scenario 2, I'm only going to be able to do 11 out of the 15, so I've taken some out. 11 out of the 17, I've taken some out, and then you can see here that it tells you by the selection of the projects, whether they're in or out. And this one's on hold, so I'm going to take it out. So we're now in a better position. We have 710 points that we only need to use, and there's only 4 million. We're pretty close in terms of our benefits in this one. So scenario 2 might be the one that we go for. And at any time, if you wanted to go into any of the data set for the epics and see where they're at, and see how important is this particular epic membership sign up. So in terms of contribution to our OKRs, here's where we can go to our visualizer again and see, okay, first of all, there's a dependency on it. So we need to make sure if we don't do membership sign up, contract management won't get done. But then also we get to see here that membership sign up actually is driving a key result for our CEO and SVPs, and also from our transform corporate culture objective. So very quickly, I can see the contribution of that specific feature if we decide not to include it. Here, weighted scoring, it looks like it's proposed. We can do the same thing and try to get some perspective on what it's contributing, who's actually managing it, and its prioritization weights, points, and so on. And likewise, we can go and look at its importance from a visualizer standpoint. This one actually has a predecessor, and it's driving actually one of our more important OKRs, which is grow our corporate global business and hit company sales of 100 million. In terms of our products, it's affecting our customer hub and cloud marketplace. But the modeler, what it does is allows you to define that particular scenario, and then you can go ahead and save any changes, and then communicate that to the rest of the organization in terms of what is actually going to be done. You can see here that it's also stack rank. There is reporting also available throughout every one of our areas, but here, and again, we're doing prioritization in order to determine what we're going to do within our lean portfolio. We can go here and look at our product backlog prioritization, and we'll look at the PI 2 100 epic point scenario. So you can do analysis, and we have 4 different reports that we provide as part of this, where you see the modeler scenarios that list of what was selected, the financials, and then the resources that were assigned or that have been assigned to that, to the epic. Here we see the, the actual selected items from the scenario. All right, that's modular. By the way, you could also, sure whether there's any views here, but I did want to highlight that if you wanted to look at this from a board standpoint and try to do LPM directly here, you can. We have a board in portfolio, which would allow you to do that also, but within the modeler, there is the board capability in case you wanted to do that. And I think this one is not configured, so I'm not gonna waste time in configuring a view, but you can actually do your program backlog lean portfolio management within modeler using the board. So let's go back. Now that we've done prioritization, then we can look at other views that support that. So here's what we've decided to deliver by program increment. Now, within OnePlan, you can actually, we have areas that specifically give you the ability to define the planning increment. So here, where do our planning increments come from? We actually define them, and also the sprints within them. The teams also get defined. And you have, if the teams want to actually work directly within the tool, you can. I mentioned, early that most of the team members are in Azure DevOps, but team leads or Scrum Masters can come in here and have a space for them to work on their own teams, and that then allows us to have program increment planning views, and I'll show in a second our boards, which actually employ a lot of that information. But here we have our epics, their status, their state, the key results that they're addressing, products that we're impacting, budget, benefits, and then the feature points. So from a lean portfolio management standpoint, you can see when you're going to be delivering at a program level your features. This view actually shows the entire hierarchy, and I think that's important to note because we do allow for roll-up. So what that means is that I can actually see the summary of all of my different elements, and here my program, which has epics and projects. So if you're incorporating, I talked earlier about that harmony of having the ability to view everything that's going on in the organization. So in this particular example, we have a project that's also together with 2 epics, and that's part of this value stream. So you can actually plan, work, different types of work, within it. And if I wanted to actually, see a summary of what's happening at the program level, I can go to the program has its own registration, page, but I can actually see not only the epic and feature work that's taking place, but everything else that's below it. So here's that our payments, our epics, and also our project that's actually also taking place. If you wanted to plan the program, by the way, you can actually plan the programs. These are program tasks that are within the this program schedule view. And you could decide, not to include the project, by the way. Also, you could say, well, you know what, I'm not gonna include that. I only want to look at everything that's within Azure DevOps, and you could do that only. So you get to select exactly how you integrate the program view. And what I want to do now is one more view just to show. We already showed prioritization, but it's before I move to the board. This is the prioritization that we took to our modeler, by the way. So again, you can create views, create personal views. It's a matter of just if you wanted to, you could just create, make changes to the columns and then save it as your personal view. But from here, the LPM will likely go to the board, and this is really where here we're at a program level. Planning increment, we're looking at, let's see, we can see here that we're looking only at features. So again, this is the benefit of OnePlan for Agile. You can only select, just a segment of the work in order to represent what's getting done. So here we have the ability to include constraints as part of our WIP limits. We are looking at, the card information can also be configured in order for you to show, in this case, WSJIF, it's active, we're analyzing, it's a feature, the business unit is IT, the team that's actually doing is Byte. If there are dependencies, so, what are called red strings, used to be called red strings, you can include them, these get defined, and what that means is that within the definition within the card, we can actually see what the dependencies are and define the give-get for every one. There's different types of dependencies that we could define also, by the way. So that's also available. But here, this is an active board. So as you can see, if I'm want to move things around based on their status, I can do that. And then also here we have our product catalog doesn't seem to be in good shape. I can go to it and try to get to it's an epic that's implementing. It's currently on hold, and why is it on hold? I could try to get some information on that. I could also from here leave a comment in order for action to be taken by the Scrum Master. There's a notification that will be sent for the to the Scrum Master. In this case, notifications will actually be by email, but also will show within the notifications in OnePlan. If we switch our view, I want to go and if I wanted to go at the higher level for epics, here we have items that need to be sequenced or placed within our PIs, but we have all of the epics that we're delivering through the year, and again, if they needed to be moved on time, you can move them directly within it, but otherwise what you're doing is looking at the specific information. They look to be in good shape. We don't have to do anything with these right now. And if I wanted to go to lower levels, I can here's the sprint level. So we can actually show sprints. So we define our PIs, we define our sprints, and it is actually showing, what we're delivering over time. And you can actually select here. We're looking at epics and features, and Our lanes are the associated sprints. So by sprint, what are we delivering? And if we wanted to make this, we could make it smaller. If we wanted to look for something specifically, a specific feature within a sprint. So here's our product catalog again that we were looking at earlier. That's on hold. The one important aspect of value add that we bring to the table, resource management. So you can actually define resources at the epic or feature level. And you can see here that we have roles, we have business units, requirements. Those are different views that we provide. And as the resource plans are being built, you then are able to see exactly what the allocation is and whether folks are over allocated or not. Whether it's a project manager or scrum master, they can come in and make a request of a resource, which then gets approved by a resource manager. You can also, so here's a proposed resource that has been assignment that has been made to Toby Stevens, and I can decide whether I want to actually commit the resource to it or not. I could actually also do a search for a candidate that might have availability. Well, it's like OnePlan. I want to do story planning, and I can see now where I could replace Toby with another resource that has availability. So here, this is done first at a feature or epic level, depending on what your model is, and then the resource manager can come in and decide whether it's this individual, and you can commit it, or you can look for someone else in order to do a replace. So here, Adam is available. I could replace the resource directly within it. So that's our resource model, and you could do it again. Here we did it by role, but you could do it by business unit and just focus on folks within a specific business unit. You take this off. So if I'm the manager of IT, I could only look at the IT resources. What's not shown in this in this model, we do allow team resources. I'll just switch quickly though, because I think it's important to show. It's an important feature to show within part of going towards an agile methodology is relying more on teams, and we actually create resource plans that will show our teams. In other words, we will assign the development team to the epic. So we can have individuals, but most likely we'll have teams that you can assign. You can define the allocation to those teams. This is an important concept in agile, scaling agile. When we define the teams, you get to define the allocation. So if everyone gets equal weight, then you can see in this case that the 100 hours are actually spread equally between the team members. I could come in here and change it also. You're not tied to that. But the other important concept is that I can assign to the team. So here's Sophia King as part of the development team. But Sophia King, also has an individual task. So we can assign to a team and we can assign to an individual at the same time. And if we go to our resource summary view here, we can show data warehouse migration, which has, if we open this up, you can see that there's Sophia King as an individual, but there's Sophia Kim as part of the development team. So this is the development team assignments that are being shown, as well as the individual. So you can do both, and that's part of our data warehouse migration project. All right, so finally, I just want to highlight that all of the data is within Power BI, and we have report packs for every single one. So for lean portfolio management, scaling agile, all the data is available, and we have our report packs. Here's just a sample of one that addresses specific agile metrics, budget by objectives, story points by objectives, percentage spent by objective, our burn up, burn downs. That's available within the tool for leveraging visualizations. Okay, I think I'm going to close now our webinar. So as I showed, OnePlan has a flexible set of capabilities to support scaling agile for lean portfolio management. PMOs of all types can benefit from leveraging OnePlan to operate both in Agile and traditional governance models. We integrate Azure DevOps to enable lean portfolio management, and we showed how that integration occurs. And finally, we have Gen I capabilities through Sophia GPT, and this is something that Scrum Masters, product owners, and lead portfolio managers can leverage for their tasks. OnePlan is a recognized solution provider in the strategic portfolio management space, recognized by the leading analysts, both from Gartner and Forrester, as well as other analysts. Within the Microsoft ecosystem, we're a leader, having won Partner of the Year several years, and which means that we have the privilege of helping major accounts of Microsoft implement Azure DevOps for lean portfolio management and project management. The template that I use is available for trial, so if you want to go through and evaluate it, you just need to start a trial. And by the way, if you need help in making changes to it to reflect your planning hierarchy and what you're managing, make contact, and we can help you adjust the trial. If you're interested in pursuing a trial, you can do so directly within our site, or make contact or contact at oneplan.ai. We do offer requirements workshops and personalized one-on-one demos to dig deeper into OnePlan for your organization. Thank you for your time, and let us know how we can support you in your agile transformation journey as in your organization.